All right. What we have here is Ken Byron Venture's Zombie English. As far as the components are concerned, there is Virginia. It is not specified as to, is it all red? Is it a mixture? Is there some bright? It's not really specified. As far as I can tell by the color, it looks like it's predominantly probably red. I don't see a lot of bright, but there could be some changing that happens involved. There's Orientals, and then there's Latakia, and then also there is a cigar leaf, which is a green candela, if I'm pronouncing that right. And you can really spot it in here in this blend. I think it really adds to the name of the blend. It kind of adds to the mystique, the zombie English. I don't know. I really like that. It's almost white looking, when you first kind of look at the blend from a distance. But when you get real close, it's a green, a light green color. But yeah, I really like the profile of this blend. But that's the breakdown of the tobacco. Let's get back over there and talk about it a little bit. Alrighty, welcome to PipeCast. Here we are with another Ken Byron Venture blend, Zombie English, which is it's a peculiar blend. It's in English, it's in the name. But what he was able to do, which this one, unlike the Patients of Dr. Silence, will not be coming back. I don't believe.
No, I think this is the third iteration
Okay.
of Zombie English last year, 2020.
Okay.
And it's like one and done.
Okay. Because it had Cyprian, Latakia, and Syrian, as well as a type of cigar leaf, I believe, and then some Orientals, I believe. So it's a good English blend, and I'll just go ahead and let the cat out of the bag. Y'all know how much I like Artisan's blend. Well, this to me is like not a weaker. It's not weaker. It's still just as the taste is still there. It's just a little bit more mellowed out, a little bit more of an all-day smoke. If Artisan's blend is not an all-day smoke for you, that's how it feels to me. This is more like like if I got up early one morning and I kind of wanted Artisan's blend, but I didn't, not so much the taste strongest, but if I didn't want it dominating my breath all day, I'd go with this. So I had kind of forgotten how much I liked this blend. I kind of got it lost in my memory of mixing it with Goblin mixture. And so I kind of forgot that this one, kind of is a really good blend, almost up there with the Patients of Dr. Silence, for me.
Yeah, this is a great blend. This is kind of an October salute to Ken Byron Ventures. Yeah, Ken once again knocked it out of the park. Deeply saddened that this is the last iteration of Zombie English. Of course, Ken's a master blender in my opinion, so you could probably fare well with getting others blends of his that are in the English tradition and probably get just as much enjoyment out of it. But as Patrick put it, this is sort of early morning artisan.
Yeah.
It does have there's some sort of fruitiness that I can't pinpoint in this blend. And it originally, I think I attributed it to some of the cigar leaf, which is I apologize, I didn't look at this. I cannot remember the name of the cigar leaf, but it is a green leaf.
Like Sodara?
Yeah,
Sodara?
I think it's Sodara or something like that. Maybe we can put a correction.
Yeah.
But the leaf is greener, which I think kind of lends to the characteristic of it being called Zombie English. But this is a very good blend. It is, like Patrick said, more of an early morning blend, and it could be an all-day smoke.
Yeah.
It's lighter. I definitely would not stand up to your plum puddings or heavy Englishes, or Balkan, as some people like to say, on the heavy Latakia side. This is not a pirate cake. This is definitely, in the tradition of early morning pipe by Peterson, Dunhill, and Chelsea Morning to a lesser extent. I think Chelsea Morning is my preferred light to blend. I do think that it lends itself to more of an Oriental not so much Scottish blend, but it's more Oriental focused and Virginia focused as opposed to, you know, your other more medium or full-bodied Englishes like
Yeah.
Westminster, Charing Cross, Abingdon,
Nightcap.
Nightcap,
Artisan.
Artisan. But this is a really good blend. Once again, Ken naturally balances everything in such a way that that with Zombie English, it it's like a well. I'll just use the comparison I made earlier. So, like our Friday the 13th, right? You have 1, 2, 3, and honestly, it started to take a dive 3, and then they had a resurrection in 4. You know, where it sort of came full circle. Ended up trying to be the final Friday, and they thought they were actually closing out the Voorhees story. Then 5 was an awful mess. And then they resurrected Jason again, and it became Zombie Jason, and it's like amazing. Part 6 is my favorite, and Part 4 is like classic. You know, everything is really set up to be classic, but
Yeah.
this has kind of got that thing to it. Except with Ken, there is no lull in the sequels, so to speak.
Yeah.
Everything's balanced. It seems like he had everything exactly where he wanted it, and he knew exactly what particular percentages were going to make this really even. It's probably the most even English I've ever smoked outside of like Westminster. Even plum pudding and a lot of the Seattle Pipe Club mixtures has, to a certain extent, issues with balance. They can sometimes be a little, I guess in some cases, a little heavy-handed with the Latakia, sometimes a little heavy-handed with whatever toppings they're using. And it doesn't feel like sometimes when you smoke blends like that, you kind of forget that there are other leaves outside of just Latakia or, or Orient or Virginia, or, I've seen Perique blends that were almost 50% Perique, and it just blasts you, and you're just like, am I smoking anything other than a condiment?
Yeah.
And because I think that's kind of where Perique lends itself as a condimental thing. And Latakia, just a dab of you'll go a long way. So if you're really trying to find a balanced, kind of complex English, you definitely don't want to overdo the Latakia.
But a lot of times people will do
They
that.
will, yeah. And there's nothing wrong with smoking, say, a Commonwealth, which is 50% Latakia.
Yeah. Or Star of the East.
Star of the East has I think that's the Cornell and Dill equivalency.
Yeah.
I like those blends, but I also like them with a glass of scotch, and like one of those Islay scotches that kind of tastes like turpentine.
Yeah.
Like I need something like that is just as packs just as much of a punch,
Yeah.
or a black coffee, which is strange because I usually smoke Latakia heavy ones at night, and I don't want really coffee at night unless I'm trying to stay up. You do what you can.
Yeah.
But this is like an extremely well balanced blend. Like I said, it's misfortunate that we're doing a review on it. We both, and these are kind of an oddity anyway, because we're not really doing a first impression last review on this particular episode. It's just sort of a review. However, this is a discontinued blend, which I'm sort of ashamed that we're doing it. I really don't like doing that, but I do like spotlighting Ken Byron when I can. And since he does have sort of a flair for the horror, it's appropriate to bring him back in October.
Yeah. And you were talking about the Latakia. That's what I was thinking of when I was sort of revisiting it earlier this week, because I haven't smoked since that July episode we did, the Grousemore.
Oh, Grousemore, that's the last one?
I hadn't smoked since then. So I was waiting for that cool weather. And but when I was revisiting this, that's kind of what I was thinking, is that you can, like, I like Latakia. Like, a lot of Latakia doesn't really upset me, but, if there's any room for me to find some complexity, that I like that.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of a test for me to see if I can pick out those things. And this one, Latakia is there, but it's almost it to me it takes a back seat. Really, there's more things happening, and I think it's the cigar leaf that I'm more honing in on right now. The cigar leaf and uh, the Virginias, um, but yeah, the Latakia is there, but I just don't. It's not that overpowering. And that's why, like when I compare it to Artisan's Blend, it definitely Latakia is there. So it's kind of like, but there's things underneath that make Artisan's Blend the like my favorite heavy English, and this is basically, it just reminds me so much of Artisan, just taking down a notch with the Latakia and letting some other things kind of play up. So, um, yeah,
There
I think it's
is
good.
some sort of topping or something in this that reminds me of In Soda Bed.
Oh yeah, I do like on soda bed too.
And In Soda Bed is probably the most it's the oddest English
Yeah.
you can smoke, and it's an esoterica blend, so it can be kind of a pain to acquire. But when you get it, there's like a fruity pebblesness to it. Like it's
Yeah.
so weird. It's like it has this fig, blueberry,
Super. Yeah.
uh, arrow smell to it. It doesn't burn necessarily like that. The first time I smoked it, kind of reminded me of Blueberry, the cereal. And this kind of
Hallelujah.
has that odd, like back end blueberry sort of flavoring, and it sounds like this sounds negative because it sounds artificial. I try not to think of it in terms of like a really heavy artificial arrow. It just has this thing that kind of reminds me of blueberry cereal or like a fig or like a fig or some sort of like um, tangerine, nectarine, some sort of like odd, like kind of fruity, off sweet,
Yeah.
like fruit,
I can see what you're
plum or
saying.
something like that. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just got this weird something. Like there's something about it, but it's good. It just has a odd sort of sweetness that's not. I wouldn't describe. I don't think I would come out of the gate and be like, "This is an English that tastes like blueberry cereal or
No.
blueberry or fig or whatever."
Just once you dig deep in
It
there.
just has it in there.
Yeah. It's interesting you talk about that because I see what you're saying, the comparison with in soda bed, and one thing I've always thought about in soda bed, and I think this applies, Zombie English applies to it. The name plum pudding fits better with in soda bed in this, for me.
Yes.
Like when I when I when I first was told about plum pudding, the tobacco, this is what I thought it was going to taste like. Now I still like plum pudding, but I think that name fits what's going on with this and in soda bed a lot more than what ends up happening in plum pudding. But well, yeah, I hadn't really worded it and such, but I know what you're talking about with the blueberry, and um, it's kind of interesting because going back to the Patience of Dr. Silence, of course, I don't think this would be categorized as an aromatic. There's not it's an English,
In
right?
terms of zombie English,
Yeah.
yeah, no, not at all.
But when you go back to that one, that's aromatic, but they kind of complement each other in a way.
Yeah, I mean, I like both of the blends, obviously.
Hmm.
Um, you could definitely see how you could smoke them one after the other,
Hmm.
or the next day,
Yeah.
or something like that, and it wouldn't take away from the other blend that you
Yeah.
smoke. You'd be like, oh well, that was a good decision.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sort of like having you know, in this instance, I would probably want to do Dr. Silence after, but it would be like having a dessert after a meal.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, they don't negate each other and
No.
they don't make you forget the other blend, but they're complementary in such a way.
Yeah. Kind of like when you pair
I
like.
would never take them and blend them together.
No.
I think that would be a
No.
mistake.
No.
Because I don't think the Katonquin would fit with Latakia, personally.
Mm, I'm not. Yeah. Um, yeah. No, I don't think mixing them would do good. They're great enough blends on their own that they don't need any kind of Frankenstein mess going on with them.
Yeah, I mean, The one thing that's nice about Ken Byron is there's not really it's not a need to tamper with it any more than it's already been tampered with.
Yeah.
Now, I know a lot of people would say that about most blends, and yeah, that's true. I mean, I don't tamper with blends too much, but I think Ken is a special individual in that, like, I really don't think you need to do anything more than what he's already done to his blends. I think that you could. There are things that when I smoke different blend, I tell you, a master blender who I have the utmost respect for is GLPs, and there are blends of pieces that I have critiques for. Like, I would say, I think you should do this, or I think you should do that. A great example is we did a filler episode on
Maltese.
Maltese Falcon, and I think if you would remove the ginger flavoring and add clove flavoring in there, I think it would elevate that blend like in a crazy way.
Yeah, and fit the name better.
And fit the name. And I think that was the thing. It was sort of like a full package for me. Like, it's like clove reminds me of noir film more so than ginger. That's an opinion. I think it's a valid critique of that particular blend.
Mm-hmm.
But with Ken, I don't usually have critiques, or I don't really have anything. It was like, I would elevate this, or I'd elevate that, or reduce this, or whatever. I think that he really does, hit the mark most of the time.
Yeah, yeah. My only qualm with anything he's ever done was Goblin Mixture, and that wasn't his fault. That was my fault for, that was my first entry into a Scottish blend, and it's just that was me.
Yeah, and it's not. It's Scottish blends are so peculiar because you really need to love Oriental.
Yeah,
Like, and not that you don't, but I mean, you have to love it.
yeah,
Even I find myself not fully into the sort of head, dive right into the sour complexities of Orientals. Especially if I'm not in the mood.
yeah.
So I mean, that can be, it doesn't always lend itself to me to be some, eye-opening experience. Orientals, I think, suffer from the Perique problem, which is that they're sort of more of a complement than what you want to smoke exclusively. Now, I say that with a little bit of hesitation because Temple Bar and Regent's Flake are a Virginia Oriental blend, and they're amazing.
Yeah, but that's the key though, the Virginia, and I think for me, most blends that I like, Virginia, is of course Virginia's in almost everything, but the Virginias are good. They're good Virginias, and they play their part well.
Right, of course.
And that's the thing with Regent's Flake. The Virginia is there, and the Oriental complements it in such a way, whereas other Oriental blends that we've tried kind of miss that. It's almost, I don't know, and maybe it's not the Virginia in every case, but it seems like it is.
And I hate to be like too critical of a blender because I don't blend,
Yeah,
I smoke. But yeah, it does seem like either the Orientals are an afterthought or they're so upfront that they actually can kill the blend. Usually they're the afterthought because I think most blenders are so hell bent on the Latakia
Yeah,
and then the Virginia, and then the Oriental is just like, whatever.
yeah. We'll
But if you
whatever.
do it right, as Pease has proven time and again, and as Ken Byron has proved,
Yeah,
it can be a wonderful compliment and something that isn't overpowering and something that isn't overshadowed by other leaves.
So, but I would normally say if you can get your hands on this blend, do it.
And that's not to say that you can't.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
Maybe there is a friend or someone, or maybe that there is somebody who has zombie English and they don't like it, maybe, or they want to get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows?
Yeah,
And
but
maybe you can get a hold of it. But I mean, I think this is just another testament to Ken Byron's ability.
Yeah.
So
yeah, if you can get it, get it. I don't think you will be upset, especially if you're a fan of like the Nightcaps and the Artisan blend, and or in the Chelsea Mornings, but yeah, so hopefully you enjoyed this video, and we'll catch you next week.
Yeah. See y'all next week.
See ya.